Hello everybody, I'm Zyon Sigil. Very happy you could be here with me today. And today we're going to be talking about Ratchet from Ratchet and Clank, his backstory, some lore about him, so on and so forth. Let's get to it. Be warned, this will contain spoilers for the entire Ratchet and Clank series, so if you do not want this spoiled, then this is your warning now. Before we get started, I've noticed that less than 10% of you have hit the subscribe button. If you enjoy this kind of content, do consider hitting the subscribe button, possibly the like button. It really does help with the algorithm. Now, with that out of the way, let's get to talking about what we know about Ratchet from Ratchet and Clank. And on a side note, I will be using the 2016 reimagining to further his origins, mainly Grimm raising him and so on. Let's get to it. Ratchet was born in the Polaris Galaxy on planet Fastoon to Caden, the keeper of the Dimensionator, and an unnamed mother. Shortly after Ratchet was born, his planet came under assault by Emperor Percival Tachyon's Brothid troopers and his enforcers, who mercilessly decimated the entire city, killing every Lombax man, woman, and child they could find. Using the Dimensionator while in the port of Azimuth, the Lombaxes fled to another dimension, leaving behind only the exile, Ratchet, and his father. Ratchet's mother unfortunately died during the raids, according to Alistair the Exile. Ratchet's father, after reaching Ratchet, took his son and the Dimensionator and fled Fastoon to hide both Ratchet and the Dimensionator from Tachyon. Ratchet's father sent Ratchet to the Solana Galaxy, where he landed on planet Veldin, presumably found by Grimm and being raised by him, far from Tachyon's reach. 15 years pass and Ratchet is still living on Veldin with Grimm. Working in Grimm's garage, he sees a flyer for the Galactic Ranger tryouts. Hoping to become a Galactic Ranger, he then makes his way to the tryouts and passes through the gauntlet, getting to meet his heroes, the Rangers, but they seem to want nothing to do with him, thinking that he's just a loose cannon, essentially. After finding Clank, who crashed on Veldin, fleeing from Drek, Ratchet decides to help the little robot get to the Rangers at their HQ on planet Kurwan. After arriving on the planet, it is under siege by Dr. Nefarious and Drek's warbots attacking the Hall of Heroes. Shenanigans ensue and Ratchet defeats the dropships, being allowed to join the Rangers, much to Quark's dismay. After going planet to planet, fighting Drek's forces along the way, Ratchet and Clank finally make their way to Quartu and Dr. Nefarious' robot factory. This is where they find out that Quark, wanting to get his fame back and become a hero that he was once revered as, was working for Drek and Nefarious. More shenanigans ensue and Ratchet makes his way to the Deplanetizer and destroys Drek's artificial world with him on it and defeating Nefarious in the process. Quark is subsequently arrested for his help in the scheme. Approximately a year later, Ratchet is being interviewed for Behind the Hero in Grimm's shop, getting teleported to the Bogon Galaxy, where Megacorp reigns supreme and Gadgetron is nowhere to be found. Needing Ratchet's help, Mr. Fizzwidget, or rather Quark dressed up as him, tells Ratchet that a thief has stolen their newest prototype, Protopet. The thief being Angela Cross, another Lombax left behind. All she was wanting to do was stop the Protopet from destroying everything due to flaws in its design. Mr. Fizzwidget, is having none of that, and being as he has the IQ of a sun-dried raisin, just takes the Protopet and releases it to the public. This doesn't go very well, however, and it soon starts to destroy everything. Angela and Ratchet go to stop this new menace, and just before they are about to, Quark finally revealing himself, as usual, makes things 10 times worse, and Ratchet has to clean up his mess once again. After defeating the Protopet, Ratchet remains in Megapolis for around a year or so, working for Megacorp, until he sees on the news that his homeworld of Veldin is under attack once again, but this time by Tyrannoids, under the command of Dr. Nefarious, who has resurfaced, looking to rid the universe of all biological life. After getting to planet Veldin and kicking the Tyrannoids off the planet with the help of the Rangers, Ratchet is then tasked with finding Quark, who has last been seen on planet Florana. After getting Quark, he then takes him to the starship Phoenix, where he can recover his memories. Along the way, Ratchet undergoes more shenanigans, gets Quark his memories back, and finds out that Dr. Nefarious is going to use the Bio-Obliterator to change all life into robots. Ratchet, finding this out, sets his sights on bringing Nefarious down and stopping the Bio-Obliterator. After finding out the Bio-Obliterator is on planet Mylon, Ratchet and the Rangers make their way to the planet to destroy it. Just before destroying the Bio-Obliterator, Nefarious and Lawrence teleports off the world and lands on an asteroid floating into space, not to be seen again for a while. After Nefarious's defeat, Ratchet is made commander of the Starship Phoenix, and while on the phone with the new president of the galaxy, is kidnapped by robots under the command of Gleeman Vox. Vox, who controls Vox Industries in the Shadow Sector, runs an underground-style gladiator arena with kidnapped heroes from across the universe. He uses these heroes for sport, placing an explosive collar around their neck, making them fight to the death and selling the likeness of the fighters to make money any way he can. Ratchet deciding to go along with this until they can escape, them being Ratchet, Clank, and Big Al, goes from battleground to battleground, conquering each challenge that Vox can throw at him. After completing Vox's final arena, Ratchet, being the hero that he is, chooses to go back and save those that have been captured by Vox and his cronies, and also to defeat Vox in the process. Almost another year passes, and Ratchet, back home in the Solana Galaxy on planet Kerwan, Ratchet is working on a new hoverbike when he receives a call from Quark that the city is under attack by heavily armed commandos. Ratchet, hearing this, makes his way to Quark's, fighting the unknown enemies along the way. After reaching Quark's place, Ratchet is then introduced to Emperor Percival Tachyon, the last of the Kragmites and sole ruler of the universe, as he puts it. After stealing Tachyon's ship to escape, and the hypersleep, funnily enough, knocks them out, they awaken on planet Kabalia in the Polaris Galaxy. Learning that Tachyon has already conquered many neighboring planets, they decide to learn more about him and make their way to planet Portog thanks to the help of the smuggler. Along the way, he learns more about the Lombaxes and the Great War, where the Lombaxes defeated all of the Kragmites who were threatening the universe at the time. After reaching the city archive, Ratchet then finds a planet named Fastoon in the computer, calling it a Lombax planet. Ratchet, rushing to escape Tachyon's forces, downloads the coordinates and makes his way to Fastoon and the Lombax ruins. Finding a Lombax ship, Ratchet and Clank decide to repair the ship and save the only part of Ratchet's past that they can find, that being the ship. After repairing the ship, Ratchet learns that Tachyon, with the help of Broffids and stolen Lombax technology, that he destroyed every Lombax he could find. After all this being done, Aphelion, Ratchet's ship, plays the message sent to him by Quark, telling him to come to the Imperial Fight Festival, that he has information about Tachyon. After completing the battle arena, Ratchet is shown what Tachyon is looking for, the elusive Lombax secret, and Tachyon thought that it was hidden on the Apogee space station. Upon arriving, this is where he meets Tawan Apogee, the daughter of Max Apogee, a great explorer and scholar of Lombaxi. As always, more shenanigans ensue, and Ratchet learns of Tachyon's origins, that he was found by Lombax miners on Creel Comet, who found Tachyon in an egg and decided to raise him back on Fastoon. After receiving a message that Tawan had been captured and was being held in Zordoom prison, Ratchet then goes there to rescue her. Once they have rescued her, they make their way to Jacindu, where Captain Slag is said to have had the Dimensionator, aka the Lombax secret. Ratchet finds the Dimensionator on Jacindu and soon has it stolen by Captain Slag, where they threaten to kill Ratchet and Clank should they follow them to the Oobleck Passage. The heroes willfully followed the pirates and defeat Captain Slag, and Ratchet told Rusty Pete, Slag's second in command, that he just wanted the Dimensionator. Quark popped out of a pirate crate, took the Dimensionator, vowing to throw it into a black hole while fleeing in an escape pod. Rusty Pete, still claiming Ratchet to be captain, revealed that the escape pod would land on the Kragmite homeworld of Repor. Tachyon, finding out that Quark now has the Dimensionator, sends his forces to retrieve it from him so that he can bring back the Kragmites. And to bring back the Kragmites he does, after taking the Dimensionator from Quark. Ratchet, learning that the Kragmites are attacking Meridian City on planet Oobleck, goes to said city and fights off Tachyon's forces. After doing so, Clank believed that Tachyon would be heading for Fastoon based on the visions that he had been having from the Zoni. Ratchet, believing his longtime friend, chose to go to Fastoon, where they see Tachyon's forces have already gotten into the court of Azimuth. Tachyon then revealed that the Lombaxes had taken shelter behind the walls and used the Dimensionator to flee to another dimension when Tachyon initially invaded Fastoon in the Great War. Only 2 Lombaxes stayed behind, the Keeper of the Dimensionator and his infant son Ratchet. Ratchet's father was revealed to have been killed by Tachyon, but not before sending Ratchet to Velden. But I don't think that Kaden is dead. I can go over my reasoning in another video if you wish. Let me know down in the comments below. Being offered the chance to join the Lombaxes, Ratchet says no, that no universe would be safe so long as Tachyon holds the Dimensionator, and vows to stop him. After Ratchet and Clank defeat Tachyon, he declares that he is the only one that knows Ratchet's real name and his purpose before being sucked into a black hole after promising revenge. After using the Dimensionator to get back to his friends and his universe, Ratchet wondered if Tachyon was telling the truth about his purpose, his name, and his father. Clank told Ratchet that he detected no lie in his voice. Zyon appeared once more, this time visible to everyone. They trapped Clank in a psychic field and took him through the dimensional portal. Ratchet tried to stop the Zyon, but the defensive force field pushed him to the ground. As Clank disappeared in a burst of light, all Ratchet could do was stare helplessly where his friend once was. And I have to say that up to this point in the Ratchet and Clank series, with all that I had been through, I cried at the end of this game. Because it was horrible to see Ratchet losing his best friend, but it was also refreshing to see the once lighthearted series taking a more adult tone, and I love it for that. Over the next year, Ratchet would spend the entire time looking for his best friend Clank, and how to contact the Zyon, finally learning from the Iris supercomputer that Captain Angstrom Darkwater knew of a way to contact the Zyon. So Ratchet and Talon headed to his home planet of Murdergraw in the Droggle sector. While on Murdergraw, Ratchet learns that Darkwater used the Obsidian Eye to contact the Zyon, and Ratchet would need the Fulcrum Star to power the artifact. After getting the Fulcrum Star, Ratchet uses the Obsidian Eye and learns that Clank had been damaged by overexposure to Zyon energy, losing his memories in the process. The Zyon reveal that they have found a doctor to fix him, however, specifically Ratchet's old enemy, Dr. Nefarious. It's at this point that Ratchet and Talon set off to rescue Clank and head out to find Nefarious. A little more time passes, roughly by my estimates about 6 months to a year. Ratchet and Captain Quark are struck by a mysterious anomaly and crash land on a planet named Quantos in their search for Clank. While on the planet, they learn more about the Zyon, and Ratchet meets Lord Vorsalon, who launches an attack on the planet's Fongoid population in search of someone named Alistair Azimuth, and thinks Ratchet is this exile. Realizing that Alistair could be a potential ally, he then decides to track him down and begins his search for Azimuth. While on planet Tauren 4, Ratchet learns that the exile Azimuth is another Lombax that was left behind when the other Lombaxes fled Tachyon's destruction. He also learns after meeting Azimuth that he was the best friend of his father, Kaden. Azimuth thinks that Clank has been taken to the Great Clock based on his own research, and the Lombaxes teamed up to find another Obsidian Eye in hopes of being able to speak with Clank. In search for a new Obsidian Eye, Azimuth reveals that he was the reason for the Lombax's near extinction when he gave Tachyon their technology and was exiled for his crimes. Ratchet and Azimuth find the Eye and use it to communicate with Clank, who brings them up to speed on Orvis's plight and implore them to go to planet Xenophar to save his father. After using the time portal on Xenophar to try to save Orvis, Clank's father, who was being tortured by Nefarious to get into the Orvis chamber of the Great Clock and try and reverse time. It is at this point that Orvis tells Nefarious that the Great Clock is only meant to keep time, not to change it. and disappears after the Doctor tries to attack him. After Ratchet saves Azimuth, he then tells him about the risk of using the clock as a time machine. He says it's worth the risk to bring the Lombaxes back. Receiving a distress call from Clank on planet Zepeda, Ratchet goes to rescue his friend Clank from the Valkyrie. Rescuing Clank from the Valkyrie, Clank then tells Ratchet that using the clock not as intended could destroy the universe, and Ratchet gives up the idea of saving his family for the greater good. An upset Azimuth leaves at this point, just before Ratchet and Clank go to Nefarious' station to stop him and his plans for using the Great Clock as a time machine. Regrouping at the clock, Clank reveals that he intends to stay there in order to fulfill his father's wishes. Ratchet sadly agrees, but Azimuth insists that they can use the clock to save the Lombaxes, which once again Ratchet refuses to do so. This angers Azimuth, and he kills Ratchet to try to save him in the past, just before Clank uses the Great Clock to risk only 6 minutes to save his friend from death. Having a reverse time to go back 6 minutes, Clank saves Ratchet, and the two Lombaxes fight. Azimuth trying to use the Great Clock, and Ratchet thinking about the rest of the universe being in danger. After Azimuth sees that the clock is breaking, he then makes the ultimate sacrifice to stop what he has done, making Ratchet one of the last 4 possible Lombaxes left in the universe. The others being Angela Cross, the unknown female from Rift Apart, possibly Caden, Ratchet's father, and Ratchet himself. If you want to hear more about Caden, as I said, I can do a video. Just leave me a comment in the comments section. After the clock has been repaired, Clank decides that he cannot leave until his friend finds his family, and thus the duo decide to stick together until Ratchet can find the Lombaxes. I haven't played the next 3 games in the series due to lack of funds when the games came out. There wasn't much towards Ratchet's development like there was in the future series. I will, however, be going over into the Nexus, which does have a little bit to add to Ratchet's backstory. Ratchet, while working for the Polaris Defense Force, is escorting Vendra Krog to a remote prison to serve out her life sentence. He then gets attacked by her twin brother, Neftin Krog. After stowing away on their ship and landing on a nearby planet, when the Nebulok 7 gets blown up, they meet Pollux, a scientist that used to work for Nefarious, and he tells them that she is looking for the Netherverse. This is an alternate universe inhabited by a race of demonic entities known as the Nethers. They then head to Weeblesnog City, the capital city of planet Silox, where the Progs are experimenting with a device resembling the Dimensionator. The duo confront and defeat Neftin, but Venture manages to open a portal to the Netherverse, allowing Mr. I and his soldiers to enter the real world. After tracking down Neftin, they learn that the device used to free the Nethers was modeled after the original Dimensionator, which has been put on display in the Intergalactic Museum of History on planet Eglak. After getting the Dimensionator repaired by Neftin, they save Vendra and send the Nethers back to the Netherverse, only to find out that the Dimensionator is broken, and Ratchet, deciding that he has more in this universe than over there in the Lombax universe, that being his girlfriend Tawin and his lifelong friend Clank. And thus, if you finished all of this and watched to the very end, you were ready for Rift Apart, at least when it comes to Ratchet's backstory. Sorry, I know it was so long, but I mean, after 20 years of games, you're going to be having a lot of lore surrounding each of the characters. This did take a very long time to write. I do hope you enjoyed it, though. It was worth every view and every comment, so appreciate you. As you could probably guess, Ratchet and Clank is one of my all-time favorite series to play through, so I do hope that you enjoyed this telling of Ratchet's history from his past to his present. As always, I've been Zyon Sigil. I do hope you enjoyed yourself. And leave me a comment in the comments section down below if you'd like to hear me do some theories on Ratchet or Caden or anything in general. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Leave me a like if you enjoyed it. Don't forget to leave me a comment too, that way I can get back to you and thank you for subscribing. But as always, I hope you guys have a safe and wonderful rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye everyone.